We should never forget people like Joseph Arch. They sacrificed a lot for us working people. We should never forget. I'm like the Tolpuddle martyrs. I mean, the courage them men must have had is unbelievable. And so we should never forget them for what they've done for us.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's important that we should remember these occasions. History is very valuable. We learn from it. And we're here today to remember Joseph, to give thanks once again for his life, how he championed the rights of agricultural workers. He was very much forward in that field, became a member of Parliament, so he was a leading figure at the time. In the history books I read, he didn't get on very well with the local vicar.
Houses they pull down, stand up now.
Trevian. It was very difficult in them days, you see, because if you lived in a tied cottage, which most farm workers did, I mean, I spent nearly 20 years in one, your hands were tied. Now, Joseph Arch was lucky that he'd got his own house, so they couldn't persecute him like they might have done if he'd have been in a tied cottage. So, without his sort of help, we wouldn't have advanced like we did.
Hi, I'm Matt Weston. I'm the Member of Parliament for Warwick and Leamington, which includes the village of Barford. And in my maiden speech, I was absolutely delighted to be able to reference Joseph Arch and the work he had done in bringing together agricultural workers across the land, and that he ultimately ended up being the Member of Parliament for North Norfolk and representing people everywhere. And he was a great person. I was very proud to mention him.
Yeah, 1872, on the 7th of February, Joseph Arch received a delegation from Wellesbourne. 2 or 3 labourers came across and asked him if he would address a meeting in Wellesbourne at Chestnut Square. And it was the first of the union-based meetings. So we're going to emulate that first walk where he first addressed a union-based crowd. So let's go and enjoy.
The gentry are all round, stand up now, stand up now. The gentry are all round, stand up now. The gentry are all round, on each side they are found. Their wisdom so profound, to cheat us all our ground. Stand up now, stand up now. The lawyers they conjoin, stand up now, stand up now. The lawyers they conjoin, stand up now.
There were very strong theological reasons behind the diggers doing their digging, and that was that essentially they wanted to restore the earth to be a common treasury. That's their key phrase, and they believed at the beginning the earth was created to be a common treasury for everybody to share. They didn't see individual ownership of the land as part of the creation narrative, and so no one had the right to fence off the best land and buy and sell it just simply because they were able to, and in so doing deny others the benefits of it. So they wanted to really sort of break down that system and restore the pattern of land use, I suppose, that they thought operated right from the beginning. Both the episode with the diggers and this story with the Wellesbourne Allotmenteers do get us thinking about deep questions concerning the land, how we use the land, who has control of it, who has access to it, and vitally, how can the land sustain everybody, which are very profound questions, but ones that we very seldom address.
Stand up now. The club is all the law, to keep all men in awe, that they no vision saw, to maintain such a law. Stand up now, diggers all.
On this afternoon, very evocative times. For Joseph Arch as well, it was very difficult because clearly he was trying to put a voice for the deprived agricultural workers, but at the same time, if he stepped too far out of line, he'd be arrested. He could even have been sent on a prison ship to Australia. So when you actually read his writings, you find the delicate line that he treads. He can't even take a rabbit that's on his land because that's been seen as poaching. So very, very difficult times. Anyway, first and foremost, if you're alive 100, 150 years ago, you'd certainly enjoy the Morris. So here is the Hereburgh Morris. Thank you.
Hello everyone, we are Hereburgh Morris.
We don't have a dance relating to Joseph, so you'll have to make do with Constant Billy. On to yourself. This time.
The next piece is by works from Joseph Arch. This is Dr. Vivian Thomas, and Viv is a lecturer in Shakespeare, but he's going to turn his oratory skills to Joseph Arch. Viv.
Thank you. Thank you. Just before I metamorphose into Joseph Arch, which I will do with this cap, I ought to say one or two things about this remarkable man, who is clearly the most remarkable man from this entire area. So coming to Joseph Arch was a real privilege to encounter a man with such humble background and with a sensibility and refinement that he wanted to improve the lot of the most ordinary people in the society, and acknowledging improving their lot improved everybody's lot. But the resistance was those people who preferred to have their people at the bottom of the ladder subordinate rather than prospering. And so Joseph Arch is such a remarkable man because he also had the articulacy, the energy, the sincerity to drive forward, establish that union. Before the union, he'd established a sick fund for ordinary workers, which was opposed by the local gentry, landowners. And when he went to Parliament and they did pass a fake allotments bill, he derided it and said there's no chance of this being properly implemented because the power of those people and the elite locally will prevent it. I will show you the kind of bill we ought to have, which will give everyone a genuine chance. And he forged, with his energy and intellect, an allotments bill which ensured that ordinary farm labourers had a plot of ground to ensure that they would never go hungry.
Your houses they pull down, stand up now, stand up now. Your houses they pull down, stand up now. Your houses they pull down to fright your men in town. But the gentry must come down, and the poor shall wear the crown. Stand up now, diggers all.
So the second song is Persecutors. This is to the tune of Auld Lang Syne, which I'm sure most of you know. So it'd be really, really good to get you all involved in singing. One, two, three.
When underneath the Wellesbourne tree his glorious work began, a thrill of hope and energy through all the country ran. But farmer, parson, lord and squire looked on with evil eyes. Some looked with scorn and some with ire, and some with dumb surprise. The rich and great our cause may hate, we can afford the frown. The strongest are not strong enough to keep the labourer down.
So that brings to the end our celebration of Joseph Arch's life. The struggles he's mentioned resonate today, unfortunately for us, because tragically the Diocese of Coventry are still persisting with trying to develop on the allotments, so the struggle goes on. And then finally, I'd like to thank all of you for coming today and in particular those who helped organise the event. It's been extremely successful, and I'd like to thank in particular Sharon and Wendy. So thank you all. Good afternoon.
The gentry are all round, stand up now, stand up now. The gentry are all round, stand up now. The gentry are all round, on each side they are found, their wisdom so profound, to cheat us all our ground. Stand up now, stand up now. The lawyers they conjoin, stand up now, stand up now. The lawyers they conjoin, stand up now. To rescue they advise, such fury they devise, the devil in them lies, and blinded both their eyes. Stand up now, stand up now. The clergy they come in, stand up now, stand up now. The clergy they come in, stand up now. The clergy they come in and say it is a sin that we should now begin our freedom for to win. Stand up now, diggers all. Against lawyers and against priests, stand up now, stand up now. Against lawyers and against priests, stand up now. For tyrants they are both, in flat against their oath, to grant us they are loath, free meat and drink and cloth. Stand up now, diggers all. The club is all their law, stand up now, stand up now. The club is all their law, stand up now. The club is all their law, to keep all men in awe, that they no vision saw, to maintain such a law.